Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be looking at something that's super important for pretty much anyone with an online presence.
Yeah, that's a big
We're
one.
talking about Google Knowledge Panels and how to make sure you have one and how to make sure it's working for you.
Right, because it's like, everyone's on Google these days.
Yeah,
And if somebody Googles you, you want to make sure that what they see is accurate.
Right.
And it, puts you in the best possible light.
exactly.
And that's where the knowledge panel comes in.
So to guide us through this deep dive, we're going to be looking at an article by Ralf Dodler.
Yeah, he's a German SEO expert, so he knows his stuff.
Yeah, and the article is called Anleitung 2025, Google Knowledge Panel Beanspruchen.
Which basically means Guide 2025, claiming your Google Knowledge Panel.
Yeah, for those of us who don't speak German. But no worries, we'll break it all down for you. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is a knowledge panel? I mean, I know I've seen them, but like for someone who's never even heard of this thing, what are we talking about here?
Okay, so imagine you're on Google and you search for something. It could be a person, a business, a place, anything. And on the right side of the search results, you see this box
Yeah.
with a bunch of information about what you searched for. Like a summary, a little description, maybe some images, links to websites and social media.
Okay.
That's the knowledge panel.
So it's like Google's giving you a little curated snapshot
Exactly.
of whatever you searched for. Okay.
And Google's pulling that information from its knowledge graph, which is like this huge database of information about, well, everything.
Right. I've heard of the knowledge graph, but I always get it confused with the knowledge panel.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
Yeah.
But Dodler explains it really well in his article. Think of it like the knowledge graph is the source,
Okay.
and the knowledge panel is what you see,
Yeah.
the presentation of that information.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So the knowledge graph is like behind the scenes.
Right.
And the knowledge panel is like the public face of it. Okay. So now that we know what we're talking about, why should we even care about this?
Because wouldn't you want to have a say in what shows up when someone Googles you?
Well, yeah, but like, can I really control that?
That's the cool part. You actually can, at least to a certain extent, by claiming your knowledge panel.
Claiming it, what does that even mean?
It means you're basically telling Google, hey, this is me, I'm the real deal,
Okay.
and I want to make sure the information you're showing about me accurate.
I can see how that would be important, especially for businesses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's not just for businesses. Anyone with an online presence should care about this.
Okay, so like freelancers, artists, musicians.
Anyone. Think about it like your online reputation. Your knowledge panel is a big part of that. So you want to be sure it's representing you well.
So like if someone's Googling me to see if they want to hire me or, check out my work,
Exactly.
my knowledge panel is like the first impression.
It's like your digital business card.
Okay. I'm convinced. I need to claim this thing. How do I do it?
Well, Dodler lays out a pretty clear process in his article. 7 steps.
Okay, let's hear them.
So first, you got to find out if you even have a knowledge panel.
Okay.
Just Google yourself or your business name and see if that box pops up on the right.
Okay, and if it doesn't?
Well, it could mean Google hasn't created one for you yet.
Oh.
But don't worry, you can still get the ball rolling.
Okay, good to know. So let's say I do have one. What's next?
Well, then you look for a link at the bottom of the panel that says, claim this knowledge panel.
Easy enough. But what if that link isn't there?
That could mean someone else has already claimed it.
Yeah.
Like if you work for a company, maybe someone in the marketing department already did it.
Okay.
Or it could mean that Google just hasn't made your panel eligible for claiming yet.
Oh.
It happens sometimes.
Okay, so assuming I find that claim link and I click it, what happens then?
Then you got to prove to Google that you are who you say you are.
Makes sense. How do I do that?
Usually, you can connect your official website or your verified social media accounts, like Twitter or Facebook.
And if I don't have any of that?
Then you can submit some documentation to Google, like company registration details or other official documents.
So they're pretty serious about making sure the right person is in control.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I've jumped through all those hoops. What's the next step?
Well, then you just have to wait for Google to review your claim.
How long does that usually take?
Could be a few days, could be a couple of weeks. But Dodler says that if you're thorough with your documentation, it can help speed up the process.
All right, so patience is key. And while we're waiting, can we talk about what happens after Google gives us the thumbs up? Like, do we get to go in and directly edit everything on our knowledge panel?
Well, not exactly. You don't have like full editorial control. It's more like you suggest changes,
Oh.
and provide evidence to support your updates.
So it's a bit of a back and forth with Google.
Right. You're working with them to make sure the information is accurate and up to date.
Okay, so what kind of things can we actually suggest changes to?
Pretty much all the basic stuff like your name, a short description,
Yeah.
your logo if it's a company panel, things like that.
What about images?
Yeah, you can update images, add links to your website and social media profiles, even add some interesting facts,
Like what kind of facts?
like your date of birth or the date your company was founded, stuff like
Oh,
that.
that's cool. So it sounds pretty comprehensive. And I imagine keeping it updated is important, especially as your online presence, evolves.
Absolutely. Google loves fresh, relevant information. So updating your knowledge panel regularly is a good idea.
Okay, and I bet that helps with SEO too, right? Having an updated knowledge panel.
You bet. We'll dive into that more after the break.
Sounds good. Let's take a quick pause, and when we come back, we'll tackle some common questions about the claiming process, and we'll explore how to really use this tool to boost your visibility online. Stay with us.
So we were talking about updating your knowledge panel and how that can actually help with your SEO.
Right, because most people think of SEO as like, optimizing your website and your content.
Yeah. But it turns out your knowledge panel is part of the equation too.
It's a big part. Think about it. When someone searches for you on Google, what's the first thing they see?
Your knowledge panel.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that Google would take that into account when they're ranking websites.
And Dodler actually has a whole section in his article about how to optimize your knowledge panel for SEO.
Okay, let's dive into that. What are some of the key takeaways?
Well, first of all, you want to make sure you're using the right keywords.
Right. Keywords. Always with the keywords.
I know, but it's important. Think about the words people would use to search for you or your business. And make sure those words are in your knowledge panel description.
Okay, so like if I'm a photographer, I would want to include words like photographer, photography, maybe the types of photography I specialize in.
Exactly. You want to make it crystal clear to Google what you do.
So it's not just about stuffing in as many keywords as possible. It's about using the right ones strategically.
Right. Quality over quantity. Always.
Okay, what else? Besides keywords, links.
Links.
Yeah, your knowledge panel can have links to your website, your social media profiles, even other relevant websites.
So it's kind of like a hub.
It is. It's like a central point where
Yeah.
people can find all the important information about you.
And I bet having those links helps with SEO too.
Absolutely. Because Google looks at those links as a sign of authority.
So the more high-quality websites that are linking to you,
The better.
the more Google thinks you know what you're talking about.
Right. It's like a vote of confidence from other websites. So make sure you include links to your most important pages.
Okay, and what about images? We talked about updating images earlier. Is there anything specific we should keep in mind for SEO?
Well, just like with everything else, quality matters. Use high-resolution images that are relevant to your brand or your content.
So no blurry selfies.
Unless you're a blurry selfie expert.
Okay, fair enough. But seriously, I can see how a professional-looking image would make a big difference.
It does. It makes your knowledge panel look more credible and trustworthy,
And that can translate into more clicks and more traffic.
which is what SEO is all about.
Exactly. So we've covered keywords, links, images. What else?
Well, one thing that Dodler mentions is structured data.
Ah, yes, structured data. I've heard that term, but I'm not really sure what it means.
It's a bit technical, but basically it's a way of organizing information on your website in a way that Google can easily understand.
So it's like you're speaking Google's language.
Right. You're making it easier for Google to crawl your website and extract the information it needs for your knowledge panel.
So if I want my knowledge panel to be as accurate and up-to-date as possible, I need to make sure my website is using structured data.
Exactly.
Okay. Well, I'll have to do some more research on that. But I think I'm starting to get the big picture here.
Yeah.
It's not just about having a knowledge panel. It's about making sure it's optimized so it can really work for you.
Exactly.
It's like any other tool. You got to know how to use it properly. Now, I know you said that Dodler has a bunch of additional resources on his website. Is there anything specific you recommend checking out?
Yeah, he has some really in-depth articles about the Google Knowledge Graph,
Yeah.
which, as we discussed earlier, is the backbone of the knowledge panel.
Okay.
He also has a great guide to structured data that's really helpful, even if you're not a techie person.
I might have to check that out myself. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. I feel like I have a much better understanding of Google Knowledge Panels and how to make them work for me.
Good, I'm glad.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Just this. Don't underestimate the power of your knowledge panel. It's a valuable tool for managing your online presence and building your brand. So take the time to claim it, optimize it, and keep it updated.
I think that's great advice, and I would add that it's not just about businesses or brands. Even if you're just an individual with an online presence, it's worth taking control of your knowledge panel.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Google Knowledge Panels. We hope you found it informative and helpful. And remember, if you want to go even deeper, be sure to check out Ralf Dodler's article, Anleitung 2025, Google Knowledge Panel Beansbrücken. We'll include a link in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shaping your digital world. It's pretty amazing how much control we actually have over this stuff, you know?
It is.
Like, I always thought Google just kind of, did its thing.
Right.
And we were at its mercy, but it turns out we can actually, shape the narrative.
Absolutely. And Dodler's article really drives that point home.
Speaking of Dodler's article, he actually goes above and beyond in this one.
He does.
Like, he not only explains all this stuff in detail,
Right.
but he also provides links to a ton of additional resources on his website.
Yeah, he's really generous with his knowledge.
Yeah, like he's giving us a roadmap to really master this whole knowledge panel thing. And one of the things he talks about is the Google Knowledge Graph, which we touched on earlier.
Right, that's the huge database that powers the knowledge panel.
Yeah, and he goes into a lot more detail on his website about how it works.
Yeah, he really breaks it down.
He also has a whole guide to structured data, which I know we mentioned it briefly,
Yep.
but it's one of those things that sounds super intimidating.
That does sound technical.
But Dodler explains it in a way that even I can understand.
Yeah, he's good at that.
So for anyone who's like, what is this structured data thing?
Right.
I highly recommend checking out his guide.
Yeah, it's worth a read.
You know, it's funny because we've been talking so much about Google and algorithms and, all this tech stuff,
Yeah,
but it all comes back to storytelling, doesn't it?
it really does.
Like, at the end of the day, we're all just trying to tell our stories.
Mhm.
And Google is just a platform.
A very powerful platform.
A very powerful
Well,
platform.
it's still just a platform.
Yeah. And we have the power to shape how our stories are told on that platform.
That's the key takeaway.
So whether you're a business, a brand, an artist, a musician, or just someone who wants to make sure their online presence is on point,
Right.
take control of your knowledge panel,
Claim it.
optimize it,
Update it.
and use it to tell your story to the world.
Well said.
Well, that's about all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Google Knowledge Panels. We hope you found it informative and helpful. And remember, if you want to go even deeper, be sure to check out Ralf Dodler's article, Anleitung 2025, Google Knowledge Panel Beansbrücken. We'll include a link in the show notes. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shaping your digital world.